Good morning, Oklahoma. Thanks for joining us on Cow-Calf Corner this week. This week's topic is heat stress. It's kind of a timely topic relative to the weather that we've been going through in Oklahoma the past few weeks and our forecast that we've got coming up. And we're going to address a little bit about what we can do to try to prevent it and some of the indicators or when cattle are subject to it. First of all, anytime the temperature is over 80 degrees Fahrenheit, we can potentially see heat stress occur in cattle. The temperature humidity index, something we can look up in a phone app or visit websites to get a feel for, anytime that's over 80, we're at more risk of cattle suffering from heat stress. And in particular, and something that's really hit home in the past 2 weeks in our state, when the night temperatures are not getting below 70 degrees, it does not give cattle time to offload that heat buildup that occurs in them naturally through the day. So what do we get into in terms of management, things we suggest as far as best management practices to try to avoid heat stress in cattle? First, if we have to work cattle, if we're going to be handling or sorting on cattle, we need to be doing that as early in the morning as possible. Now that leads to the question, could we wait till nighttime when the temperatures cool back off a little bit and potentially work cows then? Not as good an option as doing it in the morning because cattle have built up heat all day long. So even as those night temperatures start to fall, cattle are still dealing with heat load at that point, which makes it a far better idea to be doing it in the morning. Second thing, we need to provide ample amounts of clean water, cool water when possible, and even give some thought to, is there shade over automatic waterers? Is our water coming out of a source that gets an opportunity to soak up a lot of sun and warms up itself? Because as the temperature of water goes up, we actually see water intake decrease in cattle at a time of the year when it's warm, and their water intake needs to increase for the sake of helping them cool off and offload that heat buildup. So ample amounts of water, keep that water as cool and clean as possible, allow ample water space is going to be important to alleviate heat stress in cattle. A couple other things. Shade. We need shade for cattle at this time of year, particularly black-hided cattle. Airflow can be very important at helping cattle have a little bit of evaporative cooling. Cattle mainly get rid of heat through respiration and that process, but airflow is really critical to avoiding heat stress. If we've got anything up from the winter when we were trying to block wind, whether we've got hay stored somewhere or maybe even just tall forage beside areas where cattle are going to shade up. So some basic management practices, work them early in the morning, provide ample shade, provide ample water, and do anything we can to eliminate windbreaks so that there's some airflow through. I suppose if given the option, cattle are going to catch a little more airflow at higher elevation than they are down in valleys. So if we're putting in some kind of a shaded area, give thought to where you're going to locate it. If you are dealing with something that is mechanical shade that you're going to move into pastures or grazing paddocks, the orientation of it can be helpful relative to if it's in a low spot, helping that dry up so that sun hits it more time of the day. So a north-south orientation versus an east-west is something to give consideration to. Just some tips on heat stress, how to try to avoid it, and thanks for joining us on Cow-Calf Corner.